A few years ago, I was on a party with a girl, and it was so freaking cold outside, and I didn't have any jacket. So she proposed to me that she could call her father, and he could pick us up and drive me home. And I was like, very hesitant, because I knew that I am an introvert, and that I am not too good at holding conversations, and I got really anxious and really worried about the fact that I would meet her father. And so I refused that offer. I was like, no, I don't really need to. I'm gonna go back home by myself without the jacket. And she insisted that I agree. And I finally got convinced and I said, okay, I can go. So her father pulled up to the parking lot, and I come in, open the door, say hello, and I sit down. And I just, in silence, I can't say anything. Then her father asks me, where do I live? So I say where I live, like very stuttery and with a high-pitched voice. And he didn't even hear me the first time, so I had to repeat myself. Like, I was so unconfident. I felt so fucking anxious, like I was so scared to just be in that car. Like, this was too much for me, this little bit of social interaction. And I stayed quiet for the whole drive home. And when we were driving next to my home, I didn't say shit. We drove past it. My home was literally right there. And I couldn't manage to say, oh, I live there, and that's where we are driving. We just drove past it. And then he was like, oh, it should be somewhere here, right? And I had to admit that that we already drove past it, and I was a little bitch and I couldn't say a word. So that's how unconfident, and that's how big of an introvert I used to. That's how big my social anxiety was. I never knew what to say. I'd never know what to do. I'd be always so fucking stressed and in my head thinking that this is what being introvert looks like. But this isn't. And in this video I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is and how you as an introvert can be more confident and be good at holding conversations. We're gonna cover both aspects, both mindset and the real practical ways to hold conversations and to be good conversationalists. So let's start with mindset. I want you to get rid of the assumption that being introverted means to being awkward or being weird around people or unconfident. No. Being introverted doesn't mean that you have to be unconfident around people. It's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have. Think about it. There's plenty of introverts who are charismatic, who are not afraid to talk to people, but they just don't gain that much energy from having social interactions, and it's draining for them. But it doesn't necessarily have to be stressful for them. This is just social anxiety, not being introverted. And people nowadays confuse the two like so freaking much. You may be an introvert, the way that I am, but you don't have to act like I did. You don't have to be a little bitch. You can be confident. So don't put this label that you are unconfident, you are scared, you can't talk to people, you can't hold conversations. Don't put this label around yourself, because you're putting yourself in a box. And you won't get out of this box. You'll stay in this little bubble of being bad at conversations. If you tell yourself that you're bad at conversations, that you're anxious around people, you're putting yourself in a box and you can't get out of it. You're the label that you put on yourself. So change your mindset. Like, if you affirm to yourself that you are a bitch and you are afraid to talk to people, that's who you will be. But why don't we just reverse it and we affirm to ourselves that we are confident, that we can speak really nicely, that we are not afraid of these people. If you affirm yourself these good things, you will put a good box around you. And outside of the box will be all these I am stressed out, I am anxious around people while talking to them. No, you will put this good label, you will put this good box around yourself that will shield you from all these negative thoughts that are coming. Like, people don't realize how limiting beliefs are detrimental. A simple belief can change your whole trajectory. And especially with such a simple thing as talking to people. If you get into the right mood and the right mindset, your words are just gonna come out and you're not gonna be stressed. People don't understand how important mindset is and how detrimental bad labels are. But now you know. And now you're gonna realize that you have this negative self-talk and you can change it into a good one that will bring fruit to your life, that will make you better. And I don't think you think this is bullshit, this law of attraction thing. If you think this is bullshit, I'm telling you, this is not. So now we've got mental aspect of it, but let's get into the practical ways to actually be good at holding these conversations and to be perceived as being good at holding these conversations. The first thing is to smile. Because first of all, people love being around positive people. Like, you know that if you smile, people are gonna just want to spend time with you. And opposed to that, if you were like very just not positive, they would get that negative and stressful energy from you. Even though they might not know what is up with you, but they will feel that something is off. They will sense your negativity. You will give that vibe that you are stressed and anxious, and people don't want to be around anxious. People don't want to be around anxious people. So smile. And another benefit of smiling is when you smile, your brain is gonna be like, okay, he's smiling, and would he be smiling if there was a predator or any danger? No, of course not. So if you smile, your brain is like, I feel safe. I wouldn't be smiling right now if there wasn't a reason to. If there was some danger. So if you smile, your brain is like, okay, there's no danger. And a huge part in being anxious around people is the danger part. You feel like you're in danger if you don't speak in a nice way, if you just can't hold a conversation. Your brain starts panicking, thinking you're in danger. If you smile, people are gonna, first of all, want to spend the time with you, but second of all, your brain is gonna be like, calm, you're not in danger. So it's not gonna start stressing out, and it's gonna just calm you down. So remember about smiling. People don't know how important this is, but it fucking is. Another thing is to not make these rapid fire questions. If you ask a question after question after question, this feels like interview. This doesn't feel like a normal conversation anymore. People feel like they are interviewed, they don't want to answer your questions, they don't want to spend time with you, and they just feel that you are a bad conversationalist. Because you are making this question after question, and this is just boring, this is just not natural. So the real way is to ask them a question, okay, but then they give an answer, and you follow up to that answer. You add on to it, you say something, you acknowledge it. You don't think about another question. No, this is not the point of conversations. You ask a question, they tell you something, they give you an answer, and you follow up to that answer. You say, yes, that's true, and you say what you think. And I heard that, and you say what you heard. You follow up you follow up to their answer. If you get good at it, I'm telling you, this is gonna be the most crucial thing in your conversation skills. And just follow up to that answer and remember about it. If you remember about it and if you implement this point, your conversations are gonna get from 3 out of 10 to 7 or 8 with this simple trick. Once I realized that, I suddenly were like, I am introverted still, but I can act like an extrovert and I am not stressed around people anymore. Like, I know what to do now and it's not even that hard. Is it pleasant? I'm still an introvert. It's still not that pleasant to meet new people and to hold this small talk or conversation. This is still not that fun for me, but I can do it. And I am not stressed and I don't appear as if I was stressed. I'm just natural at it. And it's because I realized that you just have to follow up to what they are saying. Another thing is to just not answer in a boring way. My girlfriend's mom asked me what foods I didn't like. And she was preparing some pasta with spinach. And I was like, I don't like pasta with spinach in a glass bowl. Because she prepared it in a glass bowl. And we started laughing, like it was an interesting way to answer her boring question. Like, was she really interested in what foods I don't like? Maybe she was, but this spiced up a little bit this conversation. And this was a funny way to answer her question. Of course, afterwards I told her what foods I don't like. Because it could be annoying if I didn't answer her question and she was really curious. But I just made it less boring. I made it funny. So if you're asked a boring question, just try to find a way to answer it in a more interesting way than you would normally. Answering normally and following up with some more is very good. But if you can spice it up a little bit, that would be perfect. So if you remember these things about how to be good at conversations, I'm telling you, you will not feel that you're an introvert. You will go from like level 30 of social skills to level 70, 80, 90, the more you master it. If you remember about not putting this label around yourself, not putting yourself in that box, to follow up to their answers, to smile, to answer in an interesting way, I'm telling you, you're gonna be such a good conversationalist. And it's gonna actually feel not as stressful and not as anxiety inducing as it used to. So watch this video once again, rewind this video and write down the points from it. So that you know and implement stuff from this video. Thanks for watching. Type in comments your questions, subscribe, like the video if you found it helpful, and share it with someone who is awkward around people and who might absolutely fucking need it. Thanks for watching and see you guys till next time.